Hi, hello, welcome back to my place on the internet. My name is Amanda and I post a lot of lifestyle content like this video. So I don't really know what this video is. I used to have a series on this channel called Tuesday Talks, I think it was, or Talk Tuesday, I forgot which one. And I would basically just rant about random topics on Tuesdays. I decided to bring back a similar concept kind of thing, except I'm not gonna call it that anymore. But basically I'm just going to be like talking about random topics without having like a script. Not that I script my videos, but usually I have like talking points. Making a series like this or posting on different days of the week allows me to not feel the pressure of having like a highly produced video. So I can just like sit down and talk about anything without having to like brainstorm and write out the points of what I want to talk about beforehand, if that makes sense. So I didn't really prepare for this video at all besides reading a couple articles. And that's good because it just helps me like rant on camera instead of it being like forced, you know? With that entire TED Talk being said, let's just get into this video, which I have not said what the name of it is, but it's Bisexuality versus Pansexuality. Okay. So, I identify, as you can probably tell, as bisexual. Ever since I realized that I liked more than one gender, I've always identified as bisexual. I never considered identifying as pansexual, really. So, I guess the first thing I'll do is look up definitions of both, just to see what the internet has to say about this matter before I give my own opinions. The first definition that comes up for bisexuality is a romantic attraction, sexual attraction, or sexual behavior towards both males and females, or to more than one sex or gender. It may also be defined as romantic or sexual attraction to people of any sex or gender identity, which is also known as pansexuality. So that's interesting that pansexuality comes up in the definition of bisexuality. But the definition of pansexuality is not limited in sexual choice with regard to biological sex, gender, or gender identity. It gets confusing because there's different definitions for everyone, and most people choose to identify as bisexual or pansexual for different reasons than other people of the same community. So it makes it really challenging to have like one strict definition. And bisexuality did originate as bi, meaning two, like attraction to men and women. But in recent years, bisexuals and bisexual definition has kind of shifted, and now a lot of bisexuals, myself included, really don't accept that definition because it's not limited to just men and women. Now I would say that the definition of bisexuality is attraction to similar genders and different genders in oneself, if that makes sense, because that encompasses all genders. Basically, you can be bisexual and like people of all and any gender, which I actually pretty much do. In theory, a lot of people that identify as pansexual could also identify as bisexual. A lot of people that identify as bisexual could also identify as pansexual. The way some people see pansexuality is that it is a sexuality where you just like someone for who they are and it doesn't matter what gender they are. You have no like gender preferences. I've also seen people that are pansexual say that they have gender preferences. So that's where it gets confusing because, you know, that's kind of like the same thing that I experience as a bisexual. Something I wanted to address is that there is a lot of biphobia within the pansexual community, and it's very disturbing. The problem for me comes in when pansexuals go around telling people that the reason that they're pansexual is because it's more inclusive or it encompasses more genders, because that's implying that bisexuality isn't inclusive and bisexuality doesn't include things like non-binary and other gender identities. And that is simply not the case. I think a lot of people are uneducated about this and they think that pansexuality is just bisexual plus more or something along those lines. I think it's pretty problematic that people are identifying as pansexual because they think it's more inclusive, and they're going around and telling people that that's why they're identifying as pansexual, because that's just spreading misinformation and is honestly just biphobia. I feel like those type of pansexuals think that bisexuality isn't good enough, or we're not inclusive enough, we're not, you know, we're not queer enough, something along those lines. And it does feel kind of like an attack when people are going around spreading those things. I've heard multiple people say that. I've heard bisexuals say that. I've heard pansexuals say that. And it's really frustrating because that's not what bisexuality means whatsoever. I am bisexual and I like people of all gender identities, so I don't know where this stigma is coming from. Bisexuality is something that's still I feel like not completely accepted even within the LGBTQIA plus community as a whole. Sometimes I feel like not all people of the LGBTQIA plus community think that bisexuals are queer enough to be in the community. I think it's because while we do like people of the same and similar genders, we also like people of the opposite gender. A common misconception is that whatever gender we're dating, that's the identity that we have. If I were to date a female, people would think I'm lesbian. If I were to date a male, people would think I'm straight. But in reality, I'm bisexual the entire time. I really don't understand how that's a hard concept, but a lot of people somehow think that, so it's frustrating. It's frustrating, and I think pansexuality kind of gets a different stigma. I think the fighting that often happens between pansexuality and bisexuality should stop, and we should just come together and, I don't know, like, we share the same letter under the LGBTQIA plus acronym. We have very similar sexualities, even if there are those slight differences, and I think it is very toxic when there's bisexuals that are putting pansexuals down and pansexuals that are putting bisexuals down. I think as long as people are identifying with their sexuality for the right reasons rather than thinking that one is worse or better than the other, then I think it's perfectly fine that we all just come together. If you are trying to figure out which label to pick, honestly, don't put as much pressure on yourself. It's kind of hard when you want to find a label really bad, but just know that you don't need one. You can just be whoever you are and like whoever you like, love whoever you love, and you don't need a label if you don't want one. And if you do want one, then just keep figuring it out. Don't be too hard on yourself if you have to take it day by day or change labels a couple times, try out different things. That's basically all I had to say. I hope this video made sense. Like I said earlier, I did not plan any of this out. I was just randomly talking about, you know, things that are on the top of my head. If you enjoyed this video in any way, please click the like button and subscribe down below because that would really mean a lot. And I will see you next time. Peace out. I really hope I remember to take the thumbnail pictures after I film this because I don't feel like changing it out of movie mode and then going back. I'll probably forget, so just use an old picture, future Amanda. Okay, anyway. Oh, I have to intro. I was like, what am I doing? I look so cute. Okay, maybe it needs to be a little bit up. You can see the rainbow. I feel like I'm not in focus fully when I back up. Am I still in focus? My name is Amanda. I am... Wait, I need to redo this. And I am a lifestyle YouTuber, and that's not my normal intro. That's not my normal intro. You can do this.